Yeah, it's officially GP. Just jump off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard. You know what's going on.
Funny how the ones that you love can make you dark. Funny how the ones that you hug can be the part of a...
All right, today we got officially GP jumping off the porch with us today, man.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling today, gang?
Man, all is well.
For sure. It's a pleasure to have you here on the porch with us today, man.
Yeah.
So how was that drive down here from goddamn Ohio?
You know, it's a straight shot, man. 10 hours, you know.
Straight shot, 10 hours. Yeah. What you was banging on the way down here?
Some different shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ain't want banging that 1997, man. What we doing?
I'm working on a new album, so
okay.
We're working on this new, you know, some different stuff that I'm putting together right now. You know, this next album, shit gonna be crazy.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the city of Atlanta, man. Is your first time down here?
Nah, I've been here a few times. We actually had a tour 2 years ago, right before the COVID shit hit, and we had a nice turnout down here in Atlanta, Orlando, and Charlotte, and Miami. But Atlanta was the best stop. Yeah, it was had like a big little mansion, and it was a good turnout.
For sure.
Yeah.
ATL, ho.
Yeah,
all the way.
Yeah, they show out.
No,
yeah,
no
show
cap.
out. Yeah.
So what can you tell me about growing up there in Cincinnati?
Oh, Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland, my bad.
Yeah. I mean, Cleveland different, man. You know, it's his own breed, you know, and yeah, it's one of them cities that, you know, you just get your money and get up out of there, you know, because people killing over nothing, you know. I mean, when I was growing up, they was killing over, you know, Jordans and starter jackets, you know. Now they just killing for nothing, you know what I mean? So it's just one of them cities you just kind of get your bag and get on up out of there, you know what I mean? But it's still home, you know what I mean? But it's a $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing that you have grown up and been away, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What can you say that's changed since you were a child and coming up in the city?
Man, I would really say the loyalty aspect, like people, you know, it was more structure when I was growing up. Like, you know, it was just certain areas that you couldn't trap in. It was, you know, certain areas that you couldn't be in. Like, you know, everybody had their own neighborhood, and you just knew what that was. Like, now it's just, it's no structure really. You know what I mean? And when you got no structure, you really got no balance. You know, and you know the main goal is to get money. You know, so it's just like times has changed. You know what I mean? Definitely. Times has definitely changed.
That's real. So since you was a shorty, when would you say you jumped off the porch?
90, I was 11. So it was like 11 years old. That's when I pretty much made my mind up that, like, you know, that's what I want to do. I'm not about to work for nobody. I'm not about to, you know, be punching no clock. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hustle and get where I gotta go. I had a retirement plan at 22. You know what I mean? So it was pretty much like when I was about 11 years old.
That's real.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
making your mind up at that early of an age, you know what I'm saying? What's some of the shit you can say you encountered along the way?
I mean, you had street. You see, back then, like we had, you know, you had Bloods and Crips, but then you had like in Cleveland, you know, you had Ruthless, you had Yankees, you had Nike, Far Side, you had like, you know, then you had different neighborhoods, Lakeview, Cliffview, up the way, down the way, you know what I mean? Like, so pretty much like you just kind of just stayed in your area, you know, in your section, you know, but like, you know, then like, if you did get, you know, jammed up, like the cops wouldn't really like take you to jail, they just throw you off in another neighborhood, and you know, you had to make your way home, you know, but I encountered a lot, you know, you know.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So when would you say is when reality faced, you know what I'm saying, you had to face reality and had to pay your time to society? What was that experience like?
I mean, going to prison, I was like, I mean, honestly, it was just like, that shit kind of make you a legend. Cause like now you in a situation where like you around every neighborhood. So it's like you got that main guy from every neighborhood all in one block now. So it's like, you know, when I first went down, you know, I was playing retarded. Like, you know, I was earning shirts with Soups and, you know, shit like that. And it wasn't until like somebody that I actually used to run the streets with came down and was like, nigga, what is you doing down here? Like, you down here earning shirts, like playing crazy, like you ain't got X, Y, and Z on the streets and shit. And I was like, you know, I'm like, I like to just rock people to sleep, you know, like, cause I was just brought up different. Like, it wasn't about showing out, it wasn't about, you know, being flashy. It was more like getting the bag and, you know, getting up out of there. So when somebody I actually grew up with and ran the streets with came down, that's when it just kind of came out the bag, like, oh, this dude, one of them dudes, like, and the whole joint, you know, during that whole time frame, like, I rehabilitated myself. Like, I started a business from joint, like a phone company, you know, like in commissary where you sell the oils. I became the vendor for that, for like all the prisons in the state. And that caused problems because like they put me in the AC, so like a administrative control, where like basically you ain't got no time frame on when they gonna let you out, you know. So I ended up doing like 2,000 days in the hole on no tickets, no nothing. So finally they came with a new law that you can't conduct business without the warden's permission, you know, because at that point, 3-year run, you know, we grossed about 700,000, you know, from prison. So it was like I really necessarily didn't run the business. It was just my idea. My peoples on the street conducted the business. But basically the system don't want you to rehabilitate. They want you to, you know, they want you to go 9 to 5, be 10 to life. They want you to come home, get a little job, and, you know, just maintain from week to week, you know. But I just took everything that I saw in prison and made it a business. You know, like, I seen the opportunity there. Like, everybody's always using the phones, you know, so we started a program where like $30 a month, you know, call forward and where your calls would be like 96 cents. And I did that for like 3 years straight. Started with like 3 customers and got up to like 2,500 subscribers at $30 a month residual income. So that was really my outlook in there. Like, I ain't really had no issues, no beef, no problems. Like, I think I got into one altercation. That was somebody from my hood, just because I was pretty much defending him the whole time and kind of found out he was a rat, you know. So that you know, that transpired into an issue. But besides that, like, you know, prison ain't nothing but the streets for real. You know, everything you do on the streets is being done in prison. You know, you just can't leave. You know, but I just took that whole time and made it a university. You know, and a business opportunity. So when I came home, you know, I had a nice bag on me. You know.
That's fine.
Yeah.
What can you explain, like, oftentimes I like to say, like, in school they don't show you how to be an entrepreneur or a businessman. Right. They show you how to be a worker. Right. So what's one thing that you noticed early on in life or when you got out, you know what I'm saying, or anything, what moment transpired where you was like, it clicked on how to make 1 + 1 = 2, you know what I'm saying, without being a worker, you know what I mean? Like when did the dots started connecting without you having to punch a clock, or you know what I'm saying, go that route?
I mean, pretty much, I want to say that really kind of transpired before I went to prison. Before I went to prison, I knew this Indian guy that, you know, I was really cool with, and he had a pest control company at that time, and he just showed me a lot of business aspects, and like just pretty much showed me that, like, you know, you go to college, you go to, you know, you pay all these loans, and, you know, you got to pay back some of these grants, and, you know, when you finish with school, you know, you're almost $200,000 in debt, you know, and you're going to work for somebody that don't even have a degree, let alone a diploma. So, you know, my recommendation that, you know, for anybody who going to school, if it's not a scholarship, use that beginner, that 18 to 22, use that time frame to chase your business goal. You know, unless you got a scholarship to experience the dorm life, experience college and everything like that. But if you got to pay for it, like honestly, I wouldn't pursue it. You know, because it's like 18 to 22 is the most like prominent years of your life. Who you are at that age is pretty much how you're gonna be the next 20, 30 years of your life. You know what I mean? So it's like, chase your business ideas. You know, it could be, you know, something basic. You know, like what we've been trying to work on lately is like trying to find something that's minute, but it's a very high demand in sales. You know, like, I mean, even the guy who created the exit sign, you know, like that guy, he getting paid. And it's just, you don't really pay no attention to it because it's just the exit sign, but it's a mandatory thing in every business now. So whoever, you know, patent that, he's set for life. You know, and he probably don't have a degree or nothing. You know what I mean? So my recommendation is, you know, chase your business dreams. You know, if, you know, a semester here or there for business management, things that you may lack in, you know, take it. You know what I mean? But don't give up 4 or 5 years of your life, you know, going to school, putting yourself in debt just to get out of there and go work a job in a place that ain't even got your degree in. You know, like, just my recommendation. You know,
that's real.
Yeah.
So did you become Muslim while your time away incarcerated?
No, my father Muslim, my uncle's Muslim. You know what I mean? So like growing up, we always had the structure of Islam like within our household and within like our neighborhood and stuff like that. But when I was growing up, I honestly was confused, you know, based on that Nation of Islam versus Islam, because I was like, you know, these people talking about the white man, the devil, and I'm like, well, you know, my grandmother is like, you know, pretty much white. So you're not gonna tell me that, you know, white people are the devil. Like my grandmother, like she raised all of us, like, you know, so it wasn't until like, I wanna say I was like 20, 22 when I actually read a book on the life of the prophet. And when I read this book, it was like, it just brought me to tears because I was like, this is my whole story. Like, you know, this man used to cry himself to sleep every night when he was a kid. And I was like, this is definitely a story I can, you know, relate to. So that's how I, you know, found out that there was a difference between Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad, you know. So a lot of people get that mixed up. They think that, you know, you're Muslim or Nation of Islam, like they're actually two different things. Like Nation of Islam is Nation of Islam. You know, being a Muslim is, you know, anybody can be Muslim, no matter what color, no matter what age, no matter size, shape. You know what I mean? Islam is just basically submitting your will to the oneness, to the Most High. You know what I mean? And that can be anybody. You know, the Nation of Islam during that time in the, you know, the 60s, at that point in time, like black people needed their own God. So, you know, he manipulated the situation and, you know, if you're getting $5 from each person in the neighborhood, you know, you're gonna gross a nice, you know, bag every month, you know. So at that point in time, the people needed their own God, you know, because you was dealing with desegregation and, you know, prejudice, stuff like that. So it all made sense for a lot of the people from the 60s. They joined the Nation of Islam, you know, but that's not Islam. You know, that's something totally different. Like they believe in Elijah Muhammad, and, you know, being Muslim, we believe in Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you know, peace be upon them. So it's a big difference. But in our society, that's what's the stereotype. Is that, oh, you Nation of Islam? Like, no, it's something totally different. You know what I mean? Something totally different.
I feel that.
Yeah.
How did you readjust back to society after you served your time?
Honestly, I never really let go of the streets. You know, like the entire time I was locked up, like I really kept my focus on the streets. You know, like every day I looked like I'm getting out of here. You know, then it got to a point where I was like, pretty much like, I just let go, like, and just started just bidding. You know, because I went down on a case that, you know, really had nothing to do with me. Like, it was my cousin, you know. He ended up taking a stand on me and, pointing me out and, for some drugs, and yeah, it was wild, So it was just like, I really never let go the streets, So every day, I just kept my focus on the streets. So when I did come home, a lot of things had changed, When I went in, they had the Nextel phones, and then like when I came home, it was like the touch screens and stuff like that. So it was pretty much like seeing the touch screens and the tablets and stuff like that. The price of dope and things have changed. I just made it a point like, I'm not coming home dealing with it because it's like the price of it is went way up. It's like it's really kind of pointless. I tell, guys all the time, like if you hustling, you gotta look at the numerics of it. 14, 1,500, for 5-6 years in prison, versus just getting a basic job at McDonald's, 300-400 a week. That's actually gonna pan out more than that, when you look at it, from a elongated situation. You gotta map your hustle out. You have to map that out. Like you gotta look at it from, the real standpoint. Like, and ask yourself like, do the time outweigh, what you hustling? And that's really the main goal in hustling. Is the time gonna outweigh what you're doing? 3 years at McDonald's or 3 years in jail getting $18 a month. You see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta look at it from a real standpoint, and that's really what it boils down to. So when I came home, it was like, when I left the streets, it was like 600 a zip. I come home, it's like 1,400 a zip. I'm like, bro, I only wanted to make 1,200 off of it. So like, how is you really making, money from this? It really don't pan out. So you really gotta you gotta change your hustle. Like you gotta change the product. The hustle don't stop, you gotta change the product. Like, and that's really what it boils down to. So like, that's really kind of like why I pursued the music. Cause I'm like, people they getting paid off this. Music is, they getting a real check. To rap about stuff that we did. Like, so it's like music, acting, modeling, the whole nine.
So, once coming home from prison, what ultimately led you to decide to pursue music wholeheartedly?
Really the numbers, the numbers and, really to convey a message. It breaks down to like, music is a universal law. It's a universal language. It's, you can listen to a song and it'll take you right back to a situation that you was in just from that song. It'll take you right back to a time. So it's really to convey a message and, of course, the numbers that it brings, So an example like if you've never done drugs, like if you've never popped pills, if you've never drank lean, you can't walk up to someone or a group of people and be like, hey, y'all shouldn't be doing drugs. Unless you actually done drugs. And the people can bear witness to that you actually, did drugs. Like, so it's the same scenario like with going to prison or actually selling, hustling. Like, if you've never done it, the people are not gonna listen to you. So, like right now, what I'm doing with my music is I'm pretty much taking steps back just to, relate to my people. Cause I'm really like on a whole different level of like my range of thinking, but I know I have to go back and talk to them in a language they can understand. So I talk about trapping, I talk about, the strippers and the pimps and players and, your dope boys and stuff like that, Because it's like, you have to be able to relate to the people, If you never done it, then they're gonna be like, well, why should I listen to you? They have to have a sense of people, but like, well, yo, I actually was in the streets with this dude. Like, so whatever he talking about, I'm listening, you know. So once you grab them, then you can lead them and direct them in a way that you need to, you know what I mean? Because music can, you can change the outlook of people with music, you know. You can change people's perception with music, you know. So it's really a good messenger, you know. So that's really the main goal is like, you know, being able to convey a message, you know. That's why this last album, 1987, it kind of gave the people that, you know, 'cause I wanted to go back and like give people like a sense of like real music. Like, you know, it wasn't all the Rolexes and chains and stuff like that. It was more like a message, you know, give people that real storytelling, you know. I think that was probably like I don't want to say it's my best album, you know what I mean? Because after I do an album, like I don't really even listen to it much more. Like I kind of like just keep going, you know. But a lot of people liked that album, you know, more so than the first 3 that I dropped, you know. I've just been working. Like that's all I really do is just work. Like I write, and keep writing. You know?
That's real.
Yeah.
So what is it that you want listeners to take from your music?
Hope, you know, opportunity, that they're not the only ones going through something, you know, that it's somebody that they can, you know, that's actually going through the same thing, you know, keeping a reality on it, you know, because music today got so much fabrication that it's like, it's not real, you know, it's not like theoretically like realistic, you know what I mean? Like anybody who was in the streets know that like, you know, you're not moving 10 bricks a day, you know. If you are, then like, what if you did 10 bricks a day in a year, what do you really have to do the next year? You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about it, you know, realistically, you know what I mean? But music is so fabricated because a lot of people are, you know, pretty much selling their souls, you know, behind it, you know. And music has the most influence on people, you know. You got football, you got basketball, baseball, but music is the most influential, you know, influence that you can have on people, you know. And they know that, you know. So like when you look at the industry now, you look at the artists that they're signing. They're signing most of the artists that look like the little average kid in the hood. Like they're not, you know, they're gonna sign a guy that look like just the average guy because that gives that hope to that average guy. You know, you throw a couple chains, throw a couple cars, throw a couple beats, you know, and boom, there you go. You got an artist, you know. But it's like really like the message, you know, like what is the real message, you know, and that's really what you know, is the focus of music. Music had a message. You know, if you look back in the 70s and the 80s and, you know, the 90s, like music had a message, you know. So it's like even with hip hop, like I'm not opposed to like a lot of the new artists because like these guys are talented. You know, like you hear music today and you be like, you can listen to the average album now versus like a tape in 1990. Like even the production level is different. You know, guys are talented, you know, but it's like, what are you really doing with the talent? You know, it's more killing in the music industry than it is in the streets. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, you know, if you never even been out of your neighborhood until you got into music, and now you beefing with somebody in a whole nother city. And it's like, that's not real structure. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, if you get into the bag and he get into a bag, like, you know what I mean, we should be looking at, you know, bring it together some type of unity, you know, to show that like, we can overcome the bullshit, you know. It's really what it breaks down to. Like, the industry alone, like, it can govern itself, you know, can govern themselves, can tax themselves, and, you know, put it in a position to where like it really shouldn't be no more violence going on in the industry. You know, that shit is silly to me. Like, you got an M and he got an M, and y'all talking about when you see each other is this, that, and the third. It's like, you know, that shit. That's not no real street shit. Like, ain't no a real street dude not thinking like that. You know, he not moving like that. You know what I mean? I'm in a position to where I can provide for my family and other families. The last thing I want is some problems with you or anybody else. You know, I'd rather walk away looking like I tucked my tail before I go responding and reacting to the bullshit. You know, but it's really what, you know, they want us to do. They want us to kill each other. You know, because the system don't care about no money. It was never about money with the system. It's about control and power. You know, so they give a checkup, you know, to anybody. I mean, you see what they did last year. They gave everybody a check. You know what I mean? So it ain't about no money with them. It's about control and power. You know, so when you see these rappers like beefing with each other over nothing, like that shit is like, it just shows that they really wasn't in the streets. They really wasn't structured. You know, and all of them come from, you know, gang affiliated backgrounds. You know, and these is like some of the first things in the lit, you know, that tell you is structure. Structure is everything. You know what I mean? Like, even, you know, with Bloods and Crips, like, it wasn't just like, oh, I see a Crip, I'm just shooting them, or I see a Blood, I'm shooting them. It's like, you know, that's your side, this our side, you know? But sometimes we gotta intertwine to make things right for our entire neighborhood, you know what I mean? And that's just realistic, you know what I mean?
That's real.
Yeah.
How did Red Karpet come about?
Red Karpet, that really came about initially like a studio and clothing store. So we wanted to just kind of like give everybody who came into the store, we wanted to give them that feel of like feeling like a star. You know, like I wanted, when people walk in the store, I wanted them to feel like it was all about them. You know, to give them that feel of Hollywood. You know, the studio, the quality, that's really what it brought down to. It was like the quality of the music that we putting out is what really Red Karpet was based on. You know, because quality is everything in music. You know, you got a lot of music, but it's all about the quality. You know, so we wanted to get the best quality. You know, as far as in the city, like we put a pretty big stamp in the city. You know, where everybody know what Red Karpet is. They know, you know, they see all them red cars, and you know, any event we have, it's like it's always respectful and cordial, and you know, we give people a good time. You know, where they feel comfortable and they be happy to come back around. You know, we turn studio sessions into like whole parties just off of recording. Like, 'cause I wanted to have that feel when I'm recording. I wanted to actually feel like I'm in the environment to give you a different sound when you're recording. You know, but we've been going now for about 4 years. You know, and it's just the beginning. We just expanded to the West Coast, so now we in Vegas, and just looking to expand. You know, my goals for this year is just to drop another album, and then sign me a couple good artists, and kind of just like push through them. You know, we want to get a couple good artists and have them just take off. You know what I mean?
What's going on?
Yeah. Because you know, music to me, like I said, it's really a message. You know, really a message with me when it comes to music. But I know if I get a couple young artists that, you know, can kind of like grab that, you know, that generation of people, you know, we can go far with it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like the start of it. You know, a lot of people see, they see your success, but they don't see how many losses you took to get that one win. You know, and that's really what it boils down to. Like, it's been 100 losses for one win. You know, but you got to just keep pushing. You know, so Red Karpet that's my baby. You know, that's my baby. It's gonna be forever.
For sure.
You know, it's just the start of it. So
it's all just the beginning for you.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. Any last words and shout outs?
Well, shout out to my city. You know, shout out to anybody who striving. You know, shout out to anybody who got ambition. You know, shout out to my mother and my father. You know, while they still alive. You know, And shout out to everybody in the red carpet, faculty. Yeah.
For sure, man. GP,
yes,
we appreciate having you today on the porch with us today, gang.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Funny how the ones that you love can make you dark. Funny how the ones that you hug can be the part of a situation, investigations. Where do we